One of the most confusing things in the Spanish language is the translation for the verb to be. Let's take a look at it. Hola, soy Mariela. Bienvenido. Welcome again. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to keep working on the verb to be. If you have been watching my videos and following my series, you might know that a few weeks ago we were talking about one of the two possible translations for the verb to be, and that was el verbo ser. In this video we're going to talk about el verbo estar, the second possible translation. Before we start, let's quickly review the other video and clear out all the doubts that you might have about the first translation for the verb to be, which is el verbo ser. As we learned before, we use el verbo ser when we're talking about things that are permanent, when we're using the verb to be in ways that are permanent. For example, yo soy Mariela, identity, permanent, that tends to never change. So permanent identity, yo soy, and it conjugates differently according to the pronoun. Remember that. Check out this table. We also use the verb to be in the connotation ser when we're talking about nationality. Yo soy Argentina, or yo soy de Argentina. We use it to say where you're from or just your nationality. I am Argentinian, or I am from Argentina. We also use el verbo ser when we're describing something. For example, I am brunette. Yo soy morocha. Description words, adjectives. And we also use the verb to be in the connotation ser when we're talking about jobs, occupations. Yo soy una maestra. I am a teacher. Alright, so done the revision, let's work towards the second possible translation for the verb to be, estar. We use el verbo estar to talk about things that are temporary versus el verbo ser to talk about things that are permanent. So, what's temporary? Location. I'm not always in the same spot, so I can say yo estoy en la sala. I am in the living room. I'm not going to be always in the living room. I am going to move eventually. So location is temporary, and it's one of the possible uses for the verb to be, estar. We also use estar when we're talking about company. For example, I am with my friend. Yo estoy con mi amigo. Yo estoy con mi amigo. I'm not always with my friend, that's why we use estar instead of ser. We don't say yo soy con mi amigo. We say yo estoy con mi amigo. It's temporary. Eventually, we're going to go separate places. So, temporary situation, company, estar. And finally, the third use for el verbo estar is about mood. When we're talking about mood, for example, I am angry. I'm not always angry. I am now angry. So that's why it's a temporary situation, and we use el verbo estar. Yo estoy enojada, angry. And why enojada and not enojado? I'm a female, girl, ends with A. And you might have not noticed this, but you just learned two prepositions, with and in. Con, with, to talk about company, and en, to talk about location. Alright, so now that we know when to use estar when we're using the verb to be in English, let's see what happens when we're talking about different people, different pronouns. How does this verb conjugate? So for I, yo, we say estoy, yo estoy, or just estoy, since the I, yo, it's implied. Tú estás, or just estás, you are. Él o ella está, or just está. Usted, remember the formal version of you? Está. Or just está. It's also implied. Nosotros, we, estamos. Nosotros estamos. We are. Ustedes, you plural. Ustedes están or just están. You are. And finally, ellos or ellas están or están. They are. Alright, now that we have the basics finally with this lovely chart that's going to be really helpful, so keep it handy at all times until you learn it, let's talk about the present, because that's what we've been learning, the simple present. So far, we've only been working on this tense, the simple present. When do we use this tense? We use the simple present to talk about daily routines, things that we always do, or to talk about things that are a general rule, a scientific fact, things that are that way all the time. For example, the water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. That's a fact, that's a scientific fact. So that's why we use the simple present. Okay, so far we've been learning the verb to be translated into the simple present. Ser and estar into yo soy or yo estoy. That is the simple present tense. In Spanish, same as in English, we have different types of tenses to talk about the present, the future, or the past. Unfortunately, in Spanish we have way more tenses than in English, but don't worry, we're gonna go over them one by one in the next few weeks. So let's keep calm, you know, it's gonna be okay. Let's work on the simple present first. Remember my 2 doggy friends? Let's bring them back. Verbo ser. Él es Bjorn, identity. Él es un perro, description. Occupation, even. His job is being a dog. Él es negro, adjective, description. Verbo ser, we used it for identity, his name, job, he's a dog, and description, he's black. Bjorn está con Frederick. Company, verbo estar, company. And remember the preposition con. Bjorn is with Frederick. Los perros están afuera. The dogs are outside. Location, verbo estar. Ellos están contentos. They are glad or happy. Ellos están contentos. Can you think of more examples using el verbo estar? If you do, write them down in the comments and I'll check them so we can keep learning together. And before we say goodbye, I want to talk to you about idiomatic uses of el verbo estar. What are idiomatic uses? They are sentences or words that have a different meaning than the expected, or a different colloquial meaning than the expected. For example, hold your tongue. That's an idiomatic expression that means shut your mouth. It doesn't really mean that you should hold your tongue. You know what I mean? And why am I talking about this? Because we use el verbo estar in a few idiomatic ways that are very common, and I would like you to learn them. So the first one is estar de acuerdo. We use this one in order to express agreement. So it literally translates as to be in agreement. Estar de acuerdo. An example could be yo estoy de acuerdo con Greenpeace. Let's keep it controversy free. I am in agreement with Greenpeace. I agree with what they say or what they fight for. Yo estoy de acuerdo. De, by the way, is another preposition. It means of or from. Again, put another pin on that. We're going to come back to prepositions. Estar de pie, to be standing up. Ella está de pie, to be standing up. Estar en camino, to be on your way. Estás en camino, you are on your way. Estamos en camino, we are on our way. And finally, estar en las nubes. Basically, that's to be head over heels or to daydream, you know. Estar en las nubes. Luis está en las nubes porque está enamorado. Luis is in the clouds, literally, translates like that, because he is in love, enamorado. And notice here the use of está to describe a temporary state, enamorado. And lastly, we use el verbo estar to talk about the present continuous, same as you do with the verb to be in English. For example, I am running means that you are running right now, or that I am running right now. I am running. The translation for am would be estoy, not soy. I would say yo estoy corriendo. We are going to go into further detail in the present continuous in the next few videos, so don't panic. I just wanted to mention it so you have a thorough list and a comprehensive list of all the uses of el verbo estar. So that's it, you did it. Now you know everything there's to know about the verb to be, both ser and estar, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.